Hello. Oh, that was bright. Welcome or welcome back to the Obsidian Mirror, where we pause a moment to reflect. I am grateful to have you with me today. We're going to do an astro context read, which is one of my favorites. I am super dupes into astrology. And while I get things set up today, I invite you to connect with your body if it feels safe to do so. And if there's anything that you need at this time, it would be a good opportunity to do that for yourself. It could be locating a beverage or a snack. Maybe a comfort item, some gentle stretching, or something else entirely. Maybe you want to find something to do with your hands while you watch, like crocheting or something. I think crochet and knitting and things like that are marvelous, personally. I like weaving. I don't necessarily have the skill, but I like it as a concept. So if you're somebody who is able to do something like that, I commend you for your patience. I want to fidget with these dice. I feel a little bit fidgety right now, which is fine. And while I'm selecting cards, I invite you to, if you feel called, to give me some feedback in some way. I am still refining my process here on the Obsidian Mirror. That could be by liking or commenting or subscribing. And if you want to be part of the community here, just know that watching makes you a part of this community, in my opinion. You could be more active if you want. And let me know if you do knit or crochet or sew or weave. Maybe you make jewelry. I love learning about people's art, their techniques and their methods. I hope that your quality of time is good. Day, night, week, month, whatever it may be. I hope that things are going well for you in your life. Don't mind my rough hands. I got back into landscaping recently, which is exciting for me. I like working with plants and getting into the weeds. It's not for everyone. I understand, but it is for me. I am helping a friend make their property more aesthetically pleasing. So, trying to add beauty in the world where I am able. In any case, before I get into the interpretation here, I'm going to take a few deep breaths, and you are welcome to join me, starting now. So, when it comes to the astrology in this reading, we have Capricorn, the 4th house, and the North Node. Immediately, I'm thinking about the juxtaposition between the North Node and the 4th house, because the North Node is hungry, it can be consuming. It can also be quite public sometimes. It is all about advancement and moving forward along a path that feels fulfilling and purposeful, much like Capricorn is known to do, striving. The North Node can also be experienced in different ways. It can be fun, it can be challenging, it can be daunting, it can be overwhelming. And it gives me a sense of momentum. The 4th house is one of the hidden houses. It is at the bottom of the chart. I practice traditional or Hellenistic astrology, so I'm going to be speaking from that framework. But the 4th house is very private. It is home life, childhood, foundations, ancestry. It is sometimes the subconscious. It can be the path we were shown to walk on, tradition. It can be how do I say it? The way we were trained when we were young. It can also be the things that were handed down to us by family or culture. Capricorn, I want to say, is one of my favorite signs because it is, but I also love all of the signs, so that's not totally accurate. In any case, Capricorns can be quite industrious. They can be lovers of structure and rules and regulations because those boundaries, when we know them well, can help us succeed. It's sort of like, if I were to say life is a game and we know all of its rules, then there is less guesswork on how we want to play the game. Coming up with goals and steps becomes much easier because we know exactly what it will take. Capricorns are builders. They can be builders. And they make me think of mountain goats. And what, metaphorically speaking, that is the ability to see something that seems monumental or insurmountable, and climbing it anyway, one step at a time, and having the perseverance and the determination to make it to the top when others might look at the mountain and say, that's too much effort, or whatever the case may be. So I'm getting a sense here of making something achievable. Perhaps there is a purpose or a drive here that has been kept in the dark for a long time, and not necessarily needing it to come to light while it's in process. Sort of like not needing somebody to give us approval every step of the way, or having self-confidence that we are going to achieve a goal regardless of if the work is witnessed, if that makes any sense. Having our eyes on the prize, knowing that we will succeed even if others don't understand that. It's okay. We don't necessarily need external validation for everything that we do. And it is okay to keep some things private, some things close to home. It's okay to keep our cards close to the vest, I think the saying is. I'm going to move on. We have the Four of Swords next. And this is a card that makes me think of repose, or taking a break, of slowing down for a moment to enjoy ourselves or rest, even though we may be called into action. So, this makes me think that sometimes there's no hurry, that we need breaks, that we need to slow down, and that we are allowed to enjoy the process. By all means, we should keep our goals in mind, but maybe our goals don't take everything from us. Maybe we can pause a moment and look at all we've done so far. Even if we're not quite where we want to be, it's okay to recognize this is a good lull moment, and I'm allowed to be proud of myself, to put down the sword, to take off the helmet for long enough, take a breather, have some lunch, knowing that we will take the next step, knowing that we will achieve our goal, whatever it is, we will. Moving on, we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And this makes me think of Capricorn again, of sometimes how we can get so caught up in striving and wanting to achieve something and having a finished product, or standing in the envisioned outcome, that we feel inadequate because we haven't gotten there yet, because the goal has not been realized. And so when I look at this spread right now, I think about, what is that term? I can't remember exactly what the term is, but it's sort of, it gives me the feeling of being obsessed with a future version of ourselves and having an intimate awareness of the distance it's going to take to get there. So if this is I totally understand what that's like. Just to give an example, this channel is new and it is growing, and I am giving consistent effort when I can, and it's not where I want it to be. It's not where I imagine it could go, and that's fine. But I think about it a lot, and I think about all the things I could do, all the things I could have said in a previous video, all of the ways that I can make it perfect and more enjoyable and more useful next time. And I get so caught up in my head about it sometimes that I'm unable to enjoy wherever I am in the moment. There's always something more that can be done. For the sake of myself and for the sake of this reading, I'm going to interpret this tarot reading, this card as potential. Potential for becoming the version of ourselves that we know we can be, even if it takes consistent effort over a long period of time, with dedication, with a little dash of the Capricornian spirit. Gosh, that sounded weird. I'm going to stick with it. We can accomplish whatever we set out to do. It may be hard, it may be a long process, but we can do it. I'm going to move on to the poet. And I think there is something lovely about the poet archetype. Somebody who is able to record experiences in a way that feel lyrical sometimes. Maybe people who actually write music, but it can also be whatever composition is happening. They're able to connect with people in a way that is hard for me to word right now. Is anybody a poet? Can you help me out? I really don't know what to say about it. I just have this feeling of connection through time and space. It makes me think of how we can pick up a journal or a book from somebody we don't even know, and how they can connect with us or describe our experience in a way that feels so satisfying. It feels so deep. It feels so good to be heard or seen. I'm going to reach for the book on this one because there's just something indescribable about the poet that I really want to describe. So maybe that gives you a better idea on if I am a poet or not. In any case, the poet is related to the shaman and the bridge archetype cards in this deck. These archetypes hover in the meeting place between everyday and the sacred. How well put. When light, clairvoyant, wise, and timeless. When dark, harmful words, sharp tongue, thwarted creativity. I think it is worth considering where we may be trying too hard, forcing it. Maybe there is a sense of responsibility or duty that is taking the joy out of whatever it is that we're trying to build. And I think that this reading is a good invitation to reconnect with the joy of creating. I think that creation is a sacred act. I think that it helps us to connect with the divine, however you want to word that. And I think that creating is something that we can do to add beauty, add connection, add something valuable to the lives of others. And when we turn it into a mission or a business plan or put undue pressure on ourselves, it can create a little bit of, or a bit of, disconnect. The joy of creation is turned into a system, systematized. It becomes a matter of production instead of connection. It becomes mechanical instead of moving for the creator. So I think that is worth considering, especially when we get to the next card, the shadow card, which is the Empress or the Cannibal Mother. I think that really says it all, how we can create something, whether it's intentional or not. Maybe we have, all of the healthy, good, positive intentions in the start, and then somewhere along the way, we begin to consume the very thing that we were meant to nurture and protect. And this isn't necessarily a choice. It's not like we wake up one day and we decide to burn all of our paintings. I mean, we could. I think that sometimes it's a much slower transition between embodying wisdom and nurturing and giving and tending. And sometimes there's a very slow process of rot that happens. And maybe that rot influences how we nurture. Maybe we, to use the example of landscaping, perhaps all we meant to do was take the weeds out, and we end up taking a bunch of wildflowers with the weeds because we decided somewhere along the way that it was just too much trouble to sort everything out, to take the time. Or maybe we were working for several hours in a row without giving ourselves a break, And then at the end, we felt this compulsion to just get to the end mark where we determined, and to just start ripping. Just start ripping indiscriminately. Taking things that the birds like, taking things that the bees need. And it's all in the name of gardening, but it gets twisted somehow. So if I'm going to synthesize this reading, I think it is important to consider where we may be putting too much pressure on ourselves to reach the final destination, to hurry up and get to the finishing point, to have a product, to whatever it is, and that we can have faith in the process. We can have faith that one day we are going to be that nurturer. We are going to have evidence of our efforts. The fruits of our labors will grow, and we will harvest them, even if we are impatient for that right now. So maybe we just slow down a little bit and see where we may have twisted things away from the sacred and turn them into production. Maybe it's worth considering where we could stop letting the work consume us, or where we may be forcing the process, putting so much pressure that it's hard to nurture genuinely anymore. But this requires us to slow down a little bit and admit to ourselves that maybe we're overdoing it or underdoing it somewhere. It's okay. We all get off track sometimes. So, I think I have rambled long enough in this video, and I'm going to end the reading with a deep breath. You are more than welcome to join me, starting now. Thank you for joining me, and maybe I'll see you again on the Obsidian Mirror.